With the focus understandably moving to trying to protect Gaza civilians, here's a question. When people say that Israel ought to be targeting Hamas leadership, of course, that sounds great, right? It's true. But what exactly does that mean? Should Israel be going into other countries where these leaders are living? That's sure what it sounds like when Vice President Harris said this yesterday.
I think we know that far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And it is important then that, and we have made clear our perspective on this, that that there be a lessening of the intensity and more precision around how Israel goes after Hamas and the leadership of Hamas.
More precision around how Israel goes after Hamas and the leadership of Hamas. More precision I get. Less dumb bombs, okay. But Hamas's real leadership isn't hiding in the tunnels under Gaza. Hamas leaders are living it up abroad. Chief of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar, is thought to be in Qatar. Political chief Ismail Haniyeh also lives in Qatar. Khaled Meshal has been known to have residence in Jordan. He's also been seen in Qatar and Turkey. Saleh al-Rouri, Hamas's deputy chairman, same thing. So is Vice President Harris suggesting that Israel, or the United States for that matter, hunt down Hamas leadership in these other countries? Will Vice President Harris then support Israel targeting Hamas in countries that are considered U.S. allies, who will then complain bitterly about their sovereignty if Israel does just that? Those criticizing Israel for their, quote, disproportionate response can't have it both ways. And that goes for the media as well. Last night, MSNBC's Chris Hayes joined the far left-wing chorus on this.
And an atrocity like October 7th cannot justify whatever comes after it, whatever the response. There is no terrorist attack, no matter how horrific, and truly October 7th was horrific, that can wash clean what we are seeing in Gaza and what we as Americans and our government are abetting.
I've been asking tough questions of Israeli officials. I did it on this show last night. But, quote, an atrocity like October 7th does not justify whatever comes after it, whatever the response. Here's the problem. And it's not just about Chris Hayes, because he reflects the larger problem. He doesn't have any other answers other than to criticize Israel.
Now, I will be the first to confess, I have no idea what to do about Hamas or about what comes next.
Okay. So kudos to him for at least admitting he has no clue what the appropriate response is, which puts him in a very non-exclusive club with vast numbers of the rest of the media who are wagging a finger at Israel, and the United States for that matter, while providing literally no alternative. So here's my question. It seems everyone agrees Hamas leadership ought to be fair game. So will they go after Hamas in these other countries? Let's ask John Bolton, former United States ambassador to the United Nations. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. All right, so are they going to go into other countries? Are they supposed to do that? Should they do that?
Well, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Israel were prepared to do that. They have taken out significant figures in the Iranian nuclear weapons program. They've gone after perpetrators of the Holocaust in other countries. So the idea that they might be trying to find a way to go after Hamas leaders in other countries wouldn't be at all surprising, and it would be totally justified. Given the barbarity, the atrocities that Hamas committed on October the 7th, given the fact that this was an unprovoked attack, I think Israel's right to self-defense includes taking out Hamas's commanders. They are legitimate military targets. Now, where they are at any given point is anybody's guess, and I suppose they're doing everything they can to evade detection, but Israel's got some pretty good capabilities, so good luck to the Hamas leaders for trying to evade them.
So let's play this out politically, right? So Israel sends a team of undercover folks into Qatar to kill one of the Hamas leaders, and they succeed. Israel denies it publicly, right? Israel says, no, it wasn't Mossad, we don't know, etc. But it's clear it was Israel. Qatar then complains to the United States. I would assume the United States, then condemns Israel for going into Qatar. I mean, how does this all play out politically?
Well, it's a complex scenario. I think the United States would be very poorly advised to criticize Israel for successfully eliminating terrorists. We do it all the time, and I've got no compunction in saying I think it's a good idea.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.